Hey folks, On Target Training up here in New Hampshire. I wanted to share with you today some thoughts that I think are often overlooked as part of a personal protection plan. I taught a class last weekend with an attorney friend of mine, and we kind of shared some of the realities from a legal standpoint associated. And many states have an escalation process that the law says you must use equivalent amount of force to deal with the amount of force being or coming at you. So yes, there's an obvious case to be made that an 80-year-old woman who weighs 95 pounds against a guy who's 6'4", there's such a disparity of force that she would likely be justified in using deadly force to protect herself. However, I'm a big believer that there are some other options, right, which may allow you to leave a situation without having to shoot. Again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't consider the shooting part, but as a guy who loves guns, I spend a lot of my time shooting guns and understanding how to use them for personal protection. Sure. At the same time, I don't have any desire to hurt anybody over stuff. And so if I can aggress, I can get away, perfect. And in some cases, right, if I were to shoot someone and not have weapon capability intent, it would be very difficult for me, just because I was in a fight and someone's the same size as me, very difficult for me to make the case that, oh, well, I had to use deadly force. Non-lethal force, like this pepper spray, is a great option and certainly something to be considered. In addition to pepper spray, at this class, we had 14 people at the class, and I said, how many people of you are carrying a tactical flashlight? There was one other guy. Now, this was a group of shooters who I expected at least half of them to have flashlights, especially high-lume flashlights that allow you a significant advantage. So let's say you have a high-lume flashlight, and let's say that it has a strobe feature on it. A strobe in a low light or no light situation is incredibly disorienting. Which means if I can use my flashlight, bright in the face strobe, then shut it off and move away, right? Or be moving away as I'm doing the bright light to the face. Hey, that seems like a pretty good option to consider. Now, none of this stuff will happen if you don't develop a plan and then practice that plan and practice the tools associated with using those tools that you have in your toolbox. I'm certainly not saying you shouldn't carry a knife or you shouldn't carry a sidearm. One thing to know, however, is that in some states, Massachusetts for one, you need a permit to carry pepper spray. So if you're pulled over and they search your car, they search your person, and you have pepper spray and you're driving through the state, right, you're going to be in some legal jeopardy. So again, know the laws of your state. So anyway, guys, that's a quick, kind of a few quick thoughts about non-lethal force as part of your toolbox of personal protection or self-defense. I like to follow the following: move, my case, run if I can, hide, and only then fight. And there are some times where you have to fight, and sometimes being compliant is not the only way to do it. Again, I can't determine or tell you when that would be. You have to make that decision on your own. I would encourage everyone who carries a gun to spend more time and a little bit of their training budget on understanding the legal ramifications of using a firearm for self-defense or personal protection, particularly the civil liabilities, not just the criminal liabilities, because let's say you're totally justified in the use of deadly force. Someone had weapon capability intent, and your decisions were court justifiable, there were witnesses, on and on and on. So they don't prosecute you. However, the bad guy's family files a wrongful death or wrongful injury suit against you. Well, then you're protecting yourself, right, from that civil liability. And the cost to do that can be $200,000, $300,000. And if you don't believe me, ask any attorney who does that kind of work. And they said, yeah, actually, there's really no risk to the criminal's family because they're going to get some attorney who will take the gig on contingency fees. But you're in the position of having to defend yourself from that civil liability. So anyway, guys, those are some thoughts. I hope you will take the time to mull this over. Also, to develop a plan that considers all aspects, non-lethal force, lights, knives, and knives and handguns are obviously lethal force, but to continue the whole spectrum. Consider the whole spectrum, not just the gun. The gun should be the absolute last tool that we're going toward. We should have tried to de-escalate. We should have tried to aggress. We should have tried to hide. We should have tried all those things. And, if the bright flashlight in the face, if the pepper spray to their face didn't allow you to get away and they're still coming at you with a knife, a gun, a bat, whatever, a hammer, right? That's a different situation. Well, guys, those are some thoughts. Really appreciate you watching. Finally, and as always, stay safe.